Could it be that I think in the Bible, Saul became Paul, and in Migori, Paul became Saul?
No, not necessarily.
Chair, before the governor goes, Governor, you've raised a very interesting question there. The person insisting on that e-procurement is an expert who is your neighbor. How long does it take to drive from Migori town to Sindo? And I've actually seen you with him in this. I don't want to use that term, but what does he say? What does he say? Because you have direct access to him. What is this retreat you are proposing with governors, between governors and senators? What is it supposed to achieve? Personally, we want to keep some distance between us, because that's what we are required to do constitutionally. And now is the worst time to look for friendship in the Senate. What is that meeting supposed to achieve that you cannot have a conversation with that expert from your neighboring county?
Three responses. First, I want to say that the reason automation has not worked in Migori, and we received advice from the former governor, Nderitu Murithi. We received very good advice. Automation is basically technology and everything. The real weakness is on human beings. You see, human beings can choose to do many things that inhibit or slow down the automated process. So we started by identifying the right people, giving them the right capacity, and getting them to have the right mindset to use the machines, because they disable them and they do all this manner of things. The other weakness is, yes, the automated system is there, but if you do not carry out and specifically map out your revenue sources specifically, what you will be able to achieve is what is in the system. If you do not know how many sources actual, such that at the beginning of the financial year, just with a stroke of a pen, you can say from a single permit businesses, you are able to raise 250, you check with your people. The machine will not collect it for you. Yes, it will provide all those things. So what we have been doing is to make sure that we have the right data put in the machine. We have those machines. We have the right personnel. But now the legislation we need is to have the right organogram, the right responsibility, reporting, as we build the right organizational culture, a culture that is transparent, responsible, motivated, all of that. That is what we have been suffering from, and it's hard to build when you get into the public sector and you get people who are on a P&P, and to them time does not take, them they are around, you are a passerby, and that is what we are working on. And I can assure you this year, our revenue will grow by a few hundreds of millions. I can assure you, we are on it. We are just about to finish that bit. The hard work has been done. The legislation is before the assembly. We have a team that is working on it. To answer the the senator from Nairobi's question, the CS National Treasury represents national interest. National interest and county interest at times in terms of control are adversarial. The national superstructure has always been reluctant to let counties be autonomous in their arrangements. So when they introduce what is called the E-something system, it is for the convenience of the national structure. This means if somebody in this first quarter, which will be ending a month away, we have not spent a cent, it does not matter to them. They will not be invited here to explain why we have not spent a cent. But to them it is a tidy, because they are able to justify what it is there. So that, taking that advice is very difficult. Then lastly, on the relationship between Senate and the counties, that relationship was envisaged in the Constitution. It is a must you cannot run away from. If counties collapse because your representation of counties is not effective, if they collapse because you don't oversight us, it will be a failure on you as much as it will be a failure on us. So you cannot avoid us. If people say that our relationship is bad, that is their own envy, and for us, we will continue relating. That's why we are here. We are here because we are represented by Senate. We are here because we are protected by Senate. We are here because we account to Kenyans through the Senate. And it's something we do not want to apologize about.
So on the issue of automation, that's why you have a receiver of revenue, someone who is appointed, who's paid a salary to implement the things you're saying need to be implemented.
Yes.
Because it's not just about buying the software. There must be processes, there must be procedures, and HR, as you have said. Is the receiver of revenue part of this delegation?
No, he's not part of this delegation.
Yeah, so it would also be important that when you are considering the on-source revenue, the receiver of revenue is present, because that's the person who's being paid a salary to implement the things that you're talking about. So, Clerk, I believe Migori would feature on the top 10 counties that had issues on the ROR, because there's a reported drop. So we will have to schedule them for a proper conversation. So, honorable members, can we proceed then? The next issue was late exchequer releases. That one is a global problem. I don't think the county could address that. It goes to the Treasury. Next is unresolved prior year matters, and that is what we are doing now. The next is county preparedness to transition to accrual accounting. We had a meeting with the CS Treasury, and he gave us the global landscape. And I think we will take the written responses, knowing that this is not a matter that can be resolved now, because there was a clear roadmap for transition. Non-compliance with the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board reporting framework. This is an issue that we can very easily pronounce ourselves on. Did we recommend that we report your accountants to ISPAC? We didn't make that recommendation. That was quite strange, because of the officers who prepared these financial statements. Eric Ochieng Jalango. Is Eric Ochieng Jalango here? Mr. Probably and Mr. Almost. What difficulty do you have in complying with the reporting framework? Surely. Why should this issue go through the exit exercise and clog the desk of the Senate? Such a small thing. If you're a member of ISPAC. Mr. Jalango, what's the problem?
Thank you, Chair. I think the last report we did, we had made those adjustments. The only thing that I had done, that wording, the supplementary two that the auditors were querying, I had to include it in bracket so that the reader of that particular statement could understand that the adjustment is for the supplementary. So their wordings as they appear in the template we used, but I only included the supplementary bit of it just to make sure that the adjustment we are talking about is for supplementary too.
So please,
that's where
that explanation could have been provided during the audit exercise,
provided
even at the point of management later. This is not a matter that should come to the Senate. So please make sure that you are working hand in hand with the Auditor General, because what you're explaining makes sense. Why didn't it make sense at the time of audit? So auditors, keep this in view. If you still find issues of professional negligence, then we shall recommend disciplinary action be taken on the members of ISPAC. So this we can keep in view, subject to your confirmation. Next is non-compliance with fiscal responsibility on development expenditure. This is not addressed, but I think this is significant. We need to spend some time on it. Auditor, what was your finding?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. That is page 10 of the summary. Issue number 9, on compliance with fiscal responsibility, principle on development expenditure. The statement of the comparison of the budget and the actual amount development reflects a total of expenditure of Kenya shilling 2.3 billion, which is 27% of the total expenditure of Kenya shilling 8.6 billion reflected in the statement of the receipts and the payment. This is contrary to the regulation 25G of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulation, which requires development expenditure to be at least 30% of the total expenditure.
So again, we are playing 30, 27%. I don't know what would, from Treasury, obviously the national government percentage is far worse than that. So you might be the wrong advisor. Plus or minus 3%, Auditor General, the law as is 30. But plus or minus 3%, is that an acceptable tolerance?
Here we'll still keep in view because the law says at least 30%. So it must be progressively for the development. At least.
At least 30%.
Yes.
Governor, our recommendations are fairly straightforward. Let's just get your action plan, because I believe this is a matter, it is a work in progress thing.
Our action plan is to, the management has automated most of its revenue streams to enhance the revenue collection to address the high wage bill gap, and that is what we are doing.
So your strategy is to grow your own source revenue so that more can go into development?
Yes, that is the truth.
Yeah, but also following from our earlier conversation, where we are seeing wage bill was growing from a healthy 33, 34% to 38%, I think there also needs to be some focus on that so that more can go to development. So we keep this in view. Unless, Governor, you have other commitments to make, it's something that the Auditor General can look at, because 27 is below the 30%, but we have seen cases where only 10% goes to development.
Actually, even something that will be going for us, with the boom in FIF, we are releasing some of the monies we were spending on running the hostels so that we take them to development. It will be significant. We used to spend about 200 plus million. So we'll continue doing that. FIF is freeing monies that were being used in recurrent activities in hostels.
But in this mix, Auditor, could you just compute quickly what percentage goes to the assembly? Is it 500 million that goes to the assembly?
1 billion.
1 billion?
Yes.
That exceeds the 7% in regulation. Transfers, it should be captured under transfers to other. Do we have in this financial statement the transfer to the county assembly?
Yes, head of financial.
Yes, Chair. It's not captured in the financial statement because transfers are always in the CRF. They are captured at CRF, not at the executive level. Yeah, so it's not in the executive. It's in the CRF financial statement.
Auditor General, is that the right treatment? Because in some financial statements, I've seen the transfer to the assembly reflected here. So what does the standard require?
Yeah, sure. Because the county assembly also prepare their own financial statements. So from the transfer of the CRF to the county assembly financial statement, we can able to see the transfer.
So what was received in the CRF was the 8 billion,
Yes.
8.5 billion plus OSR. Isn't it?
And what was the total budget?
Anyway, we have gone through this, Governor, I think when you sat here, counties would have just one report for the executive and one for the Assembly. And along the way, the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board brought confusion, where now you had an executive report, a CRF report, an ROR report, and of course the others. When we go into accrual, of course they'll still be there, but we'll start demanding at some point consolidated financial statements.
Yes.
So that we get total visibility of the enterprise. Because looking at this, you don't get that total view of the enterprise. But you're saying the Assembly gets 1 billion out of your total budget.
There was during this period, they were getting 1.1. It was reviewed to 900 and, is it 990 something, a million. That's
Reviewed
the
thanks
latest.
to ceilings by the Senate?
Yes. But it's 900 and something million.
Percentage?
What's the
It still exceeds 10%. That's almost 11%.
Well, again, we don't have a say, and you know the county assembly, they can torpedo you to this entity as quickly as...
You know, Chair, you bring a very interesting conversation that has been there. This conversation about the provisions of PFMA regulations that county assemblies should get 7% against the provisions of CARA, where CARA sometimes can go up to 13%. And I've always asked myself, Chair, which is the way forward really? Because we know CARA gives a higher percentage than the provisions of the regulations of PFMA. And always we've said, wherever there is a contradiction between CARA and the provisions of regulations, then the provisions of the regulations become OTOs. But then, isn't it possible, Chair, as we are passing CARA, we have CARA conform to the regulations of PFMA? That is 7%. Why do you pass CARA with a higher provision? Sometimes up to 12%. That has been my question, Chair.
Yeah, it seems to be a problem that originates from the Senate. That the Senate then goes to vary what is already in regulation through adjustment of ceilings. And it's something that we need to deal with. But it has also been brought to my attention, Governor, that what we are celebrating in Homa Bay, in the form of providing autonomy to county assemblies, might not be reality. And that's section 109E of the County Public Finance Laws Amendment. That law we are celebrating, it's still the CEC, the county treasury. Okay, it reads, the county treasury shall, at the beginning of every month, and in any event not later than the 15th day from the commencement of the month, disburse monies to the county assembly fund for the expenditure of the following month. The disbursement referred to in subsection 1 shall be done in accordance with a schedule prepared by the county treasury and submitted to the county assembly for approval, together with the county appropriation bill under section 129(7). And the question was, does that still limit county assemblies? Or in the view of your CC or Chief Officer of Finance, it allows county assemblies to be more independent?
Oh, actually, if you ask me, the county assemblies are independent. They determine, of course, within the limitations of law, constitutionalism, and other legal requirements, the rule of law. They have their budget. They decide what to use it for, pass it. We, on the part of the executive, is to facilitate the requisitions, and they get their monies into their accounts. We share the common challenge of delayed exchequer releases, we share the common challenge of slow approvals by the Office of the Controller of Budget. And those are the problems where both the county assembly and the executive require autonomy. If you can free us from the shackles of delayed approvals and delayed exchequer releases, then we will truly be a government.
Does Form C still remain?
Yes,
Chief
it
Officer?
remains.
Go on record. Does that amendment get rid of Form C?
The Form Cs will remain, but now it will be signed by the Assembly if that law is implemented.
I thought Form C, the final signatory is Chief Officer of Finance.
Currently, yes.
There'll be a separate Form C for the Assembly.
Yes, if that law is implemented, we'll be just transferring money for them, then they will be accessing.
Will the Assembly be able to requisition directly from
In
Treasury?
fact, my understanding was that the assemblies will open their own CRF accounts or whatever it is, and then Treasury sends money to the assembly and sends money to the executive.
The requisition is still the same. It's only that once the requisition has been approved, the CEC, the Treasury now transfers a portion for the Assembly into the fund.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
So it ring fences.
The executive should not have any.
The county treasury.
Actually,
They are still right in the middle of this.
Actually, what what the bill attempted to solve is superfluous. Just deal with exchequer releases. Deal with.
Governor, I disagree with you very strongly. In fact, that is one of the amendments that we didn't have to do if the county executives behaved. The assemblies have actually complained to us as a Senate that your chief officer finance are taking them round and round in circles. You have had these conversations.
Form Cs are very powerful form in counties.
From where I sit, and I can talk about the experience of Migori, we will always have delayed exchequer releases for 4 months. And we will have in our reserves pending bills. But when the county assembly requests for their recurrent, we give them, and we are unable to pay the pending bills. The reason is tumult in the assembly is tumult in government, and you can't allow it. It leads to some of these games people do not want of impeachment. So we are not the problem. The real problem is National Treasury.
Are you saying Migori is 4 months behind? The expert was saying
I'm just
that.
giving you the experience. I'm not talking about now. You will find, we received money in June. We received money in the last 3 weeks. We received 3 exchequer releases. But the assemblies were up to date. Where were we getting money from? Holding monies from suppliers, which is not good practice. Why do we hold money? We don't have the money. So if you give us exchequer releases, you can't hold assemblies money for a day. Or if you are familiar with their mood, if you are familiar with their anger, you can't hold their money. So when they complain that the county treasury is delaying them, it is just because the county treasury does not have the money. And they know it. They have to be very mean to the speaker, mean to everybody. But we take the beating because we are there. So if you
Governor, let's not focus on the mood and the temperament of the assembly. We passed a law that we were celebrating and saying, finally, we have solved this problem. You've used the word superfluous. To the chief of the, maybe let me just hear it from the technical people, because if Form C still exists, then what have we solved? Many people are of the impression that Senator Sifuna has, that we have allowed the county assemblies to generate their own version of Form C, to directly requisition.
Yes, I think what the chief officer said is that the county assemblies signed their own Form C. The only problem is there is only one treasury in the county. And I'm imagining if the money hits the CRF account in the county, then the assembly also is duly informed that the money has hit the county assembly, and then the onus is on the chief officer to release that money to the assembly, which was different before, because then the CCO could refuse to sign the Form C and delay it.
Help us understand so that we have the right message to our brothers in the county assembly.
Thank you, Chair. For you to release the money to any account, you have to sign Form C for the controller of budget to give authority to the exchequer release. So if the law still requires to be the people releasing money to the assembly, then we'll still go through the process of COB, which Form C is still a mandatory for them to approve that money to be released.
But who signs Form C now? You say
In that case, since we are the people requesting money to be released, we are the executive will still sign the Form C.
Treasury, isn't it? The county
yes,
treasury.
yes.
So the process will still be the way it has been.
It can only be cured if the law was saying from the exchequer, the money is released to the assembly direct. Then that will separate the assembly from the executive.
So the only progressive thing is that we have set up a fund
Yes,
where now you are obligated to transfer the money to.
exactly.
Of course, the obligation was there because really, if the assembly has made a requisition, there was no reason for you to hold it. But we have just made, put further emphasis for
You've
that
just-
money to be put in a fund.
Yes, you have just made it kind of mandatory.
Yes.
Yes.
But the challenge, now I'm telling you what the challenge is. Assuming we are in October and the last money we received was for July. That's the last money we received. We have August, we have September, and now we are in October. The monies we have in our reserves is, of course, monthly, and we pay our salaries, as we can wait for our salaries. But the assembly will request for their salaries, and from what we have, it will always be available. So when it is not available because our CRF at that time is reading 0, they will have the impression that there is frustration from our treasury. And that's where trouble starts. So the real thing is to unlock the taps. If you can get legislation to ensure that what happens at the national level is in pari passu to what happens at the county level, then devolution will be protected. And if the Office of the Controller of Budget has an obligation to respond within a specific time, what we call a service charter, because at times it may delay. The anxieties are uko kwa ground. Those are some of the challenges. That is where the main thing is. You cannot hold the county assembly's money. It is very difficult, and because of the autonomy they have, and we respect that autonomy, you just release monies. But you continue suffering, or your suppliers suffer.
So clerks, please note that we must have a conversation with CAF on the implication of the amendments that were passed into law recently, so that we can have the right appreciation. But also remember that Form C does not appear in any law. It is a procedure. So procedure can be, and I don't think it appears in any regulation.
Just a follow-up on what
It's
the
a
governor
procedural
said,
thing. Yeah.
because I thought it might be a bit revealing. You have indicated that there are times where we have requisition for money for the assembly, but the exchequer has not released that money to the CRF account, but some money exists there for contractors, and so you pick that money and pay, transfer to the assembly, money meant for suppliers. I'm wondering, is that one of the reasons why, if the year ends and this money now for the assembly has not come, then you void the payments? Is that one of the reasons why we void payments and increase on the pending bills?
That does not necessarily lead to that. What it leads is delayed pending bills. Or every exchequer release has money which is recurrent, and money also for development. So you will find that because we prioritize recurrent, which is salaries and others, you will find that there may be development projects that are mature for payment. But because of the sensitivity of the releases to the assembly and also releases to our staff, we continue pushing them back, kicking the can down the road or until you have enough money. You first sort out the issues relating to salaries. If they delay, you will have many issues. So the real solution, that is what gives counties autonomy and also gives, by extension, the county assemblies autonomy. The misunderstanding they have had with our treasuries is that they think the delay is deliberate or willful.
Okay,
Chair,
so
maybe just for
yes,
clarity.
Senator Cherogin.
So does it mean, and that law was signed in your county, in the state lodge, and I didn't see you in the picture. Maybe I missed you. You can share with me via WhatsApp, so that I heard you mentioning when you were addressing the delegates at the Devolution Conference, and you hailed as one of the significant moments in the Homa Bay history. Although you didn't treat us very well, but that is a story for another day. We expected to deepen and widen devolution in Homa Bay. So, the Governor, your assertion is that despite the signing of the Financial Autonomy of Amendment of the PMF Act, the fact that you have indicated requisitions are still made, so it will also determine by your CCM finance to allocate or approve the. I agree with you that you can't prevent them from getting their resources because of their nature, but the interpretation of that law that was ascended by the president through, and I know CCM finance is here, is that it will still need the approval of CCM finance to get their money in their account as the county assembly of Migori, because after assentment of that law, and I had the chair of CAF, Kamanza, Speaker of Kwale, saying that now they will have what we call financial autonomy. And maybe that question is double-edged, because do we have the treasury here? Chair, was there treasury?
National Treasury?
Yeah.
National Treasury, yeah.
Yeah, they can say something. Yeah, Madam, you are here. I don't know whether Treasury has started that law. No, let me leave the governor. I think he has better things to handle than what I'm asking. Can we go to the National Treasury? What is the interpretation of this law? Because outside there, the MCS are celebrating and they were painting the town red and saying, you know, now we have financial autonomy. We shall do oversight 101 without fear. I don't know why they normally say that without fear. I thought oversight is a constitutional obligation. So what is the interpretation of that assent or signing of that law by the president from Treasury where you sit?
Chair, I may not have